Originally, I had a tier list video coming, but I quickly realized it was going to be a little bit more complicated than I thought. If you ever wondered why there wasn't just one ultimate Starship Federation class tier list on that tier maker website, well, the reason why is because that's complicated. So I ended up saying, okay, I'm going to have to do a response video first. Let's get that out of the way. I thought this tier list video might be simple, but it's not. I have to go on the Memory Alpha wiki. Starship Federation ship classes. Every single class, as far as I know, I'm going to have to double check it against some things listed there. I have to go into each page, download the WebP. Of course, it's not a JPEG, right? It's a WebP now. For like the default image for that class of ship. Save it, and then batch convert them into JPEGs, and then open them all individually in Photoshop, and then write in the name of the class on the image. So the name is like baked into the image when it goes up to TierMaker, and then put them all in TierMaker. Because I do not like I want this kind of to be like a public service thing as well, because I want to make this so other people can use this tier list. Like this is going to be something that's going to last for a while, and I don't like these ship tier lists that don't put the name on the image, right? It's fine for people who are like so good at identifying ship classes that they know the name immediately. But if they don't, they can't look it up if the name isn't on the image. Surely you've noticed this. For those of you who've used TierMaker, maybe you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going through these, like I'm taking the image, okay, Akira, convert it to a JPEG, write Akira on it, save it, and then put that in TierMaker, and so on and so forth. And it's going to take a little bit longer than I thought. So this is the comment response video for the last season of Lower Decks. Not the last one, I mean the fourth one, right? There's another one coming, I suppose. And I want to get out of the way now, just as a disclosure here, that it feels like this season of Lower Decks basically was threatening to kill my channel. I was really disappointed with the performance of my channel with regards to my reviews on Lower Decks Season 4. I don't know why, but it just appears like maybe my audience on this channel and the audience that would watch Lower Decks are not the same. They're not the same audience. I don't know what it is. As soon as I started reviewing Lower Decks Season 4, I lost like 4 subs. I was so disappointed because I got such precious few, and I was on my way to 100, but it busted me back down a bit, and I had to work for weeks to get them back, and people just weren't watching the Lower Decks reviews for Season 4. I think there's a significant portion of people that are just kind of off the boat with it. You know, and I didn't really kind of put that in the Lower Decks reviews because the people who liked Lower Decks would watch that and didn't want to feel bad. But this is kind of like a different style of video that is probably has like less mass appeal with regards to the people who are subscribed to me. So I hope you understand me dampening the mood a little bit. But just for that reason alone, it's good that it's over. Sorry. It doesn't matter how much you love it. If it just doesn't perform, it just doesn't. And it was rough. Like, I'll tell you right now, I'm so thankful for the people who stuck around. But the comments were dominated by one person, essentially. There was one person really engaging in the Lower Decks reviews. Watching them is one thing, but engaging in these reviews with comments and whatnot and likes is really what puts it over the top. You really put it over the top if you catch my drift. You know who you are. So thank you for that. So we're going to be looking through these comments, and the first one, it just happens to be right here. Oh, and there's somebody commenting on Homer's Hammer. I love that video. That short I did where Hammer is like kind of in that episode of The Simpsons where the turkey's flying away. Or was it a pig? Yeah, it was a pig, I think. It's just a little airborne. It's still good. It's still good. Yeah, I watched. Thank you for the smile, LT, from Matthew James. I watch that myself when I want to have a laugh. That's the one I come back to just watch on my own, just to have a good time. It's so fun. Not to toot my own horn. I am not a Nugget Blackheart. This is for the first episode of Lower Decks Season 4. The enjoyment may vary, but I actually enjoyed it. I'm glad that they called out the whole thing with the fear clown. That's true, because before that was called out, I was thinking that wasn't even a hologram program. It wasn't. Also, love the additional sound effects you've added lately. Been missing that for a bit, but I'll try and be back a little more. Thank you for the comment. And yes, that episode, Tuvix, it did a surprisingly good job of covering its tracks, kind of, if in a manner of speaking. If something was weird, they tried to explain it. Like, why is there holographic emitters everywhere? And, holograms are walking around everywhere, so there's must be mobile emitters or emitters around the ship. Oh, we did that because it was a museum, right? So you need helpers around. It perfectly explains things, right? And that black and white freaky mime thing from my nightmares, it wasn't a holographic image originally, but it was made that or something, and they did think to say it, so they were doing a good job. They were, crossing their T's and dotting their I's with that episode, and it ended up being a pretty good episode. Strong, I'd say. MichaelPapp, my guess is the Voyager mission was classified thanks to the Delta Quadrant tech, as in the ship itself was treated as a top secret until released to the Cerritos. True. So yes, classification was ostensibly a cheap trick, but I'm to build audience. Not sure what that means. There could also be an in-canon reason for it, which all justification I need to blindly ignore rational. Yeah, whatever. Just ignore it. It's not. Oh yeah, the mission to go capture the Voyager is classified. Whatever. It's just there to make you, get you interested in the situation beforehand. Just a little tease for the audience. So what? Come up with a canon explanation. Why not? It's the Voyager. If something just came back from the Delta Quadrant, was that far away, and I were Starfleet, I would have it under lock and key for years before I let anyone see it. Because what if there's just something wrong with it? Like, what if it brought back something horrible? What if it brought back, like, an alien egg, and something's going to jump out of it and then attach to your face and then impregnate you with the monster? You don't know. So, any guesses you would make is as good as mine for what was classified at the beginning. Not that it really matters. It does not. It's just one of those things that, that you mention and you say and you think about, and it does not factor into the review, really, Like, things that factor in for less than a quarter of a point, usually I just get rid of in my mind, right? That's why I like the gradation of, 0 to 10 with 0.5s in there. I think, in my mind, after a lot of thinking about it, that's probably the perfect review system. Because if you have 0 to 5 with half points, so like you can do 0.5, 1.5, 2.5, whatever, that's the same as a 10, right? But you do 10 out of 10, you do 0 to 10 with 0.5 possible. That's the same as a 20. And that's the perfect amount of variance in there to clearly say, okay, this one's better than that one, etc., etc. If you do with just 5 and no 0.5s, you're just going to give everything a 3 out of 5 because it's too safe, right? It's too easy to give safe reviews that way. But, and look who's talking. I tend to give things, a decent score. Like, if I really think of it, I'm just giving things kind of okay scores a lot. But I thought about the scoring system a lot. No, it's just a joke at the use of the neutral zone's expense. Largely because that episode starts with a Romulan issue, true. I think these jokes are meant as a misdirect. Like, maybe we're meant to think the Cerritos was actually sent there to investigate the Romulan ship exploding. However, the show moved on too quickly to reveal for me to even think about that. Yeah, we're kind of like setting up like the idea of ships disappearing, right? And the neutral zone, as soon as you say neutral zone, you're thinking Romulans. Doesn't matter where it is. So it kind of plays into that. And yes, it's lower decks. Basically everything is to misdirect you in some way, right? Because it's funny. The rule of funny, if it's funny, do it. Yeah, maybe that should be a whole show. Just give me one season. Starfleet Museums, just a show entirely about retrieving old ships and putting them in the museum. Just a totally self-serving, pornographic ship show where we just get old ships and look at them and then just put them away. Spending a bunch of money modeling ships just for no story reason just to show them to people. Let's put them in the museum where they belong. That belongs in a museum. Yeah. 100% would watch. I love that. The storyline of a corps of engineers. Yep, the Starfleet Engineering Corps is just refurbishing old ships. Hey, what's wrong with that? Nice relaxing show for you. What's this here? 927. Yes, in this episode, we have this plant that we hold on to when we go through the transporter, and because of its properties, it causes people on the transporter to fuse together or uncombine or decombine something. What was it? You can use it to fix transporter duplicates. That's the fastest way I can put it to you. Could Starfleet use that plant to fix transporter duplicates? What would happen if we combined Thomas Riker and Will Riker? Wilmus Riker. Yes, Wilmus Tomium Riker. That's right. I'm going to disagree with you. Tuvix is a fantastic episode of Star Trek. The philosophical conversation at Sparrows remains one of the most vigorous in the fandom, a hallmark of Great Trek, in my opinion. Yes, it is a hallmark of Great Trek, but what do you think about that episode, Similitude? That one ever bother you? I really like that one. Dislike? I don't know. But I think about these episodes as two peas in the pod somehow. Tuvix and Similitude. I don't know why. But thanks a lot. Tuvix, it's interesting. It's a good episode. It's just like, it's not, I don't absolutely love it. It's just because, I can't divorce it from the jokes anymore. The amount of time I've been on the internet seeing Tuvix stuff, it's just, it's like a comedy to me now. Oh god. Envisioning Janeway in the trolley problem, and we can turn the switch and we can kill Tuvix, or we can not turn it and we can kill Neelix and Tuvok. Which one? I thought it was an interesting touch how Tendi used the tricorder ellipse upgrade to discern personality traits, something that upgrades themselves only made possible. Yeah, I know. Looking back, that whole thing with the discerning people's personality with that tricorder from that upgrade, it's a little bit better on rewatch. I complained about it when I first watched it, that was a strange way to solve the problem, but it's set up a little bit better than I originally gave it credit for when I went back and looked at it. I'm guessing it's an AI, maybe one created by whomever took the Badgie program last season. Feels like the series' main villains are all AI. Peanut Hamper, Agamus, I guess, the Texas class, Badgie. I think they'll all become connected, if only. That sounds like a totally lower decks thing to do as well. Just combine them all together. Yeah, and like I said before, I mentioned this in some other review, that it seems like in modern Trek the villains are AI or something, or some kind of autonomously controlled thing a lot. And I don't know, I think maybe it was you that mentioned it, that it was brought up by like the fear of AI to the writers, kind of, like in a broad sense. Of course, that doesn't apply to everybody writing it, but maybe that's what's going on there. But there's this AI streak in modern Trek a lot that, I mean, just by virtue of the fact that I've seen it a lot now, I'm getting tired of it. But I get it. Like, I get why. It's like the flavor of the age, right? That you can't divorce a show from. Like, no matter how far it's set in the future, it'll always taste like the age it was made in, right? And it's just the reality of it, and maybe it's a good thing. So thanks, MichaelPapp, for all those things about the first episode of season 4, Lower Decks. I do not grok, which I think means I do not understand. That's the Kenny Rogers Roasters Bassard Collector short, where I gave you a link to the appropriate episode of Seinfeld to explain that. so there's no need for me to really go into it here. The second episode, I have no I have no bones and I must flee. Yeah, I have to look closely to read that from the thumbnail. I love the Tucker tubes. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love Tucker tubes? I want to see them everywhere. I want to be able to get Tucker tubes. I need to make some. What's this here? I know, and just here comes poor Kim. As soon as I read it. MichaelPapp for episode 2, the likes of which Ensign Kim never saw. This is in response, I believe, to me saying Rutherford. It makes me appreciate him not having the promotion last episode, so we can get it now, and it'll be more funny and more interesting. Makes me appreciate him not getting the promotion, the likes of which Ensign Kim never saw. Ensign Kim, we should have the Ensign Kim Award in Starfleet for people who went the longest amount of time without being duly rewarded for their efforts. There should be a unique pin you can get to get that award. Poor Ensign Kim. It's almost a joke now that I don't know if I would change. It's so nasty to say that, but it's like part of the unique flavor of Voyager now to just kind of dump on Kim. It's so sad. He's kind of like Miles O'Brien in a way. Just kind of like, if anything is going to happen to a character that's really bad and disappointing or sad, it's going to be Kim or Miles O'Brien. We should, if we had a Star Trek show where it was just like the kind of lame duck people who just kind of, no matter what they do or how hard they try or the efforts they put in or the heroism that they establish for themselves, they just keep getting dunked on. We could have Miles O'Brien, Harry Kim. Who else could we have? That could be the whole crew, and it would be some ugly duckling ship too. It would be some awful looking thing. It would be like a curry type. Sorry to those of you who like that, but I'd watch it. Watch every episode 100 times. MichaelPapp again for the same episode. I feel like this episode had put the demoting, self-sabotaging Mariner plot to bed. Please go to bed. I really love how supportive Ransom is. Also, Moopsy is my new idol of worship. Yeah, if your idol of worship is a frightening little monster that eats your bones. Always with Lower Decks, taking something cute and turning it into something horrible. We're at the Cradle of Vexilon. That's episode 3. I like this episode. I like it more as time goes by. The show Halo on Paramount Plus did a good job with the ring world look, in my opinion. Yeah, I was remarking about how the unique properties of this show being animated lend it towards creating an interesting visual atmosphere with regards to this ring-shaped world. In the future, it would be cooler to go even farther than that. Go even more out there. Use the fact that it's animated to do things that would be very difficult in live action. Like you're saying, the Halo show, which I assume is live action, they did a good job. That's good. But it leverage the fact that you're animated, right? It's easier to create a 2D asset for the background than it is to create a 3D one or one that can match up and not look out of place in live action. So next season, let's not stop at a ring world. Let's do an Alderson disc. Let's do an O'Neill cylinder. Look these up. We already had a Dyson sphere, so that was in TNG, so don't really need that. But yeah, so just next season, really go out there with megastructures. I think would be cool. I love this kind of stuff. That's why this is really my kind of episode. It was really for me. Cradle of Vexilon. I love this in anything really. When you can finally see how people are like their parents. It's so funny to me. I don't know why. It rings true. It has the texture of reality on the tongue when you see it. It's something that's like, oh wow, this is a real place with real people, and I always really dig that. And there's this moment that you're referring to here where we see Mariner's mother, and it's like, oh wow, That's why Mariner's like that. She just kind of rolls up her sleeves. All right, let's fix this thing. She didn't worry about calling any engineers or anything. Didn't worry about anything. Just threw caution to the wind. And let's just personally interact with this ancient computer that we don't understand. What could go wrong? And I was just like, oh my God, Mariner's here. Mariner's back. Old Mariner's here. I felt that as well. It's like, oh, that's where she's getting some of her behaviors. It's a moment. She's fantastic in this episode. T'Lyn for the win. T'Lyn ended up not being present in every single episode, and but she was there, and we got some T'Lyn wins, and I'm happy about that. I was just rewatching the episode. The captain said Starfleet installed. This is what I missed. I was so mad about this. I watched this episode like 3 times in a row, and I couldn't figure this out. The captain said Starfleet installed the power relays Boimler's team was working on at first contact, meaning those were War 5 engines. I couldn't put it together. Likely repurposed as to not waste the machinery. Very clever, resourceful too, yes. And I couldn't understand it. When I watched it, I just don't understand how I can, watch the same thing 3 times with the subtitles on and pausing it to read the subtitles and miss that. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of like a typo. It's like a typo of the mind. Like, you can write this paragraph 100 times and misspell race car or something like that. Like, it's crazy. I was so mad that I couldn't figure that out. That they did say that Starfleet had installed it, and therefore it would be a repurposed War 5 engine. Like, why wouldn't it be? Like, it makes perfect sense. But I came up with some other harebrained idea for it that I'm still upset about. We're into some unboxings. This is for the Eaglemoss U.S.S. Dauntless, one of my favorite ship designs from Kyler Storm and Yukon at 1990. Well, Starfleet board its designs become the real U.S.S. Dauntless. I know. Or did they really bore the designs? Because the design was designed in that episode of Voyager to look like something Starfleet would design. And I think I brought it up in that unboxing, is that with sufficient computer power, could you determine what the next logical step in design would be? And therefore the design actually is Starfleet anyway? Like, we can do 1 + 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 + 5 + 6 + 7 + 8 + 9. Imagine that mathematical operation, but infinitely more complicated to account for any number of factors that would result in a different ship design, and then have your computer just do the next increment. Oh, here's the next logical step. Design the ship like this, right? And then we base our official ship off that ship. So it's oddly recursive. It's weirder than you think. There's a lot of weird stuff going on with the Dauntless, but if you've seen the episode, you know where that ship was introduced, and I think it's really cool. And it was really cool that in Prodigy we kind of gave it good interior. Like, the interior of the Dauntless was a little cheap, and it was for story reasons. It was like that on purpose, in a sense. But behind the scenes, it was probably just for money as well. But in Prodigy, it had a cool interior that was unique to it unto itself, and it was sick. The Prodigy version of the Dauntless. On the outside, there was some weirdness, but on the inside, it was very cool. The official Starfleet Dauntless. Look, the sea creature. That's what I called it. It's something that's supposed to just breach out of the ocean and go over your boat. And whoa, what's that whale thing? It's the Dauntless. 117 Iron Man. He is Iron Man. They're spinning the wrong way. Now you can't unsee it. Thanks, lol, for my Enterprise TOS gradual lighting, 3D animation. Do you want more of these? You can do more. But the Bastard collectors, are they spinning the wrong way? Because I did look at it for a while, and I posted that short showing the skeletal view of my Bastard collector and how they work. And there's something spinning like this. The light fixtures inside the Bastard collector are spinning one way, and there's black veins spinning the other way. Right? So it can actually be visually confusing as to what's moving. So if you're listening to this, I implore you to look at it again. I'm going to be looking at it again. I can't stop looking at these things. It drives me insane. It drives me losing my marbles thinking about these things. But there's a little bit of a visual illusion to it, we'll say. Algorithm, haven't seen the episode yet. Thanks, MichaelPapp. Yeah, that was for season 4, episode 4. I think all the crews aren't dead. They've been beamed away by the energy wave. We assume destruction because of the debris. That could be a byproduct of the teleportation. Some of the ship gets taken, but not all of it. This is what I'm hoping for now. And that's what was real. MichaelPapp figured it out a month ago. Thanks for the spoilers, Michael. Tendi's dual nature was the whole center of the episode. I'm not sure why you're unsatisfied when it sounds like to me this show delivered. Later on, though, when we got to the end of the season, Tendi started to kind of leverage her powers as mistress of the winter constellations. And we saw Tendi's kind of, like, for lack of a better term, royal nature come through later on. And she was using that to kind of get what she wanted from Dearica. And I realized that's what I wanted a bit more in this episode. I wanted to see, like, this episode, Tendi is a very important person on Orion. But they solved the problem with, like, a duel, kind of, on that derelict ship between Dearica and Tendi. And I remember just being disappointed by that type of resolution. But we got it later on when Tendi is leveraging her status on Orion, and I thought that was just a little bit more unique and different and interesting. That's what I'd realized without being able to get it across easily in that episode, what I was wanting. But we got it later, so it's not, my review for that episode is not perfectly fair anymore. But at the time, I was looking for more of that because it was something different. But we ended up just kind of like having a kind of basic plot where we just fought our sister because reasons. Tendi withdrew consent. She can't submit a report to the Vulcan Science Directorate or whatever without, Tendi's okay. Ethically, she could easily do so legally. However, Tallin's friend and sister, Tallin being the wild woman she is, tossed the pad out the window. She's a good friend to have in your corner. Yeah. And Tallin, have you noticed the running theme this season with Tallin ignoring her pad? She does it again in the last episode. Captain Sokol calls and she just ignores it or whatever. It's just Tallin. Tallin's middle name is pad ignoring. It's just kind of a weird thing I noticed. But, and I thought about this too. I thought about this more when you said this. And it's been rolling around in my mind for a while. Is Tallin allowed to not say the name? Like, does this Vulcan Science Director want the information regardless of who it involves? Do they want it that bad? Like, are they that interested that they would take it just without having a person's name attached to it? Like, look, Tendi didn't want to say what happened on Orion. That's fine. Tallin doesn't want to send a report if the subject didn't want to be involved in it. That's fine. So legally, Tallin could do it, yes. But could she have done it and changed the name? Could she have just said, and according to a person who wanted to remain anonymous, blah, 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 and say that in the report? That was just another thing I was thinking about, because you said this, and it's been whirring in my brain for a few months. Or 1 month exactly, I don't know. But yeah, it's how badly does the Vulcan Science Director want to learn about Orion? Is what I'm like, is it worth it to just lie or just not say the name? I don't know. How does it, more information required? But I think in the general sense, it's good that Talin, didn't want to put that report on Tendi and stuff out to the Vulcan science director because of Tendi's unwillingness to be involved in it. Like, just generally good, right? So I'm willing to go with how it was presented. Because Talin can't contain her scandalous emotional outbursts. It was interesting seeing Talin throw the pad, right? Vulcans are, they're funny. They're funny guys. Ain't they silly? I don't know. It's just cruise control for funny. Especially with Talin. Come on, the alien in old-timey South dressed like Twain. That's not an interesting visual. Ha! Well, interesting. But I don't know. I didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on why I didn't love the Twain stuff in this season. I didn't think it was funny enough once, not enough twice, and definitely not to bring it back at the end. But there is something to be said for making things go full circle, right? There's something to be said for that. I definitely don't think you're stupid. I think humor is subjective. Yes, I have a self-deprecating streak in me when I don't understand why something's funny. I feel like I'm kind of left out in the cold on some things because I don't have like a normal human response to stuff. I definitely don't think you're stupid. I just think humor is subjective, and that's a very nice way of putting it. Again, from MichaelPapp. So the animators add body language so well, the actors watched the episodes and mimic the behaviors when portraying live action version. Is this true? That's very cool that we're kind of breaking the barrier. We're breaking the medium with live action versus 2D animation. We're selling it so well that we're embodying these characters in a physical sense. That's very interesting to me. And if this is true, it must be with regards to Boimler and Mariner from that episode of Strange New Worlds. So the animators add body language, and the actors watch the episodes and mimic the behaviors. But are the animators also mimicking the body language that the actors naturally give off, like in the recording booth? Like, does it go the other way too? All the way up to episode 5, subtly and understands can work better to subtlety and understatement. Can work better to enhance a scenario than many or outrageous or bombastic whatevers. Well said. Better to have your perfume be discovered than announced. And maybe the same goes for cologne. I don't know. What's the difference between those two things? A Talin win. I love it. Yeah, this is a very Talin episode. This is the episode where she kind of we kind of dig up that idea that psychic or empathic people can get sick and give off like an emotional brain virus type thing that we've seen at least 2 other occasions. This being the third. As soon as the focus was put on the Betazoids, I knew it wasn't them. The surprise twist was Talin was welcome. Look at this guy with the big brain, figuring out things that I can't figure out. I take things at face value. I don't like to make I don't make the next logical conclusion very often. I'm happy with just following the letter in the book, and preferring not to speculate. Much more happy that way. That's why I belong in engineering. I guess it was a younger person variance. A comment about how treatable it is, or it wouldn't, or is or isn't, wouldn't be. Yeah. I guess it was a younger person variant. A comment about how treatable it is or isn't wouldn't be nice. Yeah, maybe in that episode we're kind of like not trying to worry T'Lyn a bit too much, because we knew that this disease that is affecting T'Lyn's brain, as it were, tends to affect older Vulcans. And T'Lyn isn't that old. So either you want to, say you're not old, or you want to say, oh, sorry, we can't fix it and you're going to die. So maybe the best thing would be to really say nothing. I guess it was a younger person variant. A comment on how treatable it is or isn't would be nice, true. But then again, this is a Vulcan, and maybe T'Lyn would say, oh, well, I'm going to die. Oh. Looks like I'm dead. Maybe that would be a bit too dark for this show. Hopefully LDS, or Lower Decks, will pull the rug out from under us someday and have that sinister look be actually sinister. It'd be a fun subversion. Yeah, there's this idea that consistently in Lower Decks, we reveal something spooky or sinister or malevolent at the beginning, and it just ends up being a joke because reasons. And it's we're just getting tired of it now. Like, how many times can we have a character turn away and do this with their fingers, and then have the lighting kind of be harsh on one side, and then go, perfect, all according to plan. And then at the very end, it turns out the plan was to fix the light fixture in the room because it was flickering. After a while, you can just call it, right? But one of these days, maybe one of the characters in the ship could be a secret villain all along. You never know. Next season, it could happen. I don't know the difference between poetry and slam poetry. I don't know what poetry really is, me either. From what I can gather, poetry has structure. I'm going to make somebody mad with this. And slam poetry is like the intentional disregard for that structure. So if you write a poem, it's like, violets are blue, roses are red. You left open your window, now I'm under your bed. But slam poetry is like, the ship was at warp, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with the thing, and had to fix it so that the variance was not off by this many millicochranes. Like, this is just from like 5 seconds of research. I think I shipped T'Lyn and Boimler. Did you know what's weird with Star Trek is that when you say ship, I keep thinking ships as in starships, and I'll go on Google or something and I'll type in like top Star Trek ships, and I will get romantic ships showing up. But yeah, so we're shipping T'Lyn and Boimler, which means we're just going to put them on a ship and see what happens. You don't know. Anything could happen. Maybe the sparks could fly. I did not notice the double entendre in the episode name. Very clever. Empathological fallacies. Yep. Logical and empath have been unified together to form the word empathological. I loved how the border images from the Romulan neutral zone are straight from the Balance of Terror. Yeah, I know. I think I mentioned that in the review. Maybe I missed it. I think I mentioned it. But it is straight out of Balance of Terror. I think I said it was right out of TOS. The way the monitor looks, with the different shapes and all that, and the kind of gray and yellow color. And this is about a short regarding the unboxing of the Constitution class Enterprise. Unboxings tend to perform well, but the short version of that unboxing performed fantastic. I don't know what it is at shorts, but they'll get thousands of views. But you know what? You know how many subscribers they translate into? So I don't know what's going on with shorts. It's shorts, lots of views, but they don't drive engagement. I guess shorts and regular YouTube videos are just, it's just a bifurcated audience. I don't know what it is, but there's something about the way shorts work that it doesn't lead someone going to the channel. It doesn't get them going. It's just kind of like a one and done. So I can make shorts, they perform, but I never really get the benefit. Benefit. Like, this isn't a game, but we're having fun here, and we can have more fun with more people, but at the same time, I wish it kind of drove more traffic, right? So I was desperately trying to save the channel from Lower Deck Season 4 here with this. ProudAmerican2023. I was scrolling and thought this was a Trailer Park Boys short. You sound like Ricky. I've been told that before. Well, he is Canadian, I think. Isn't that like saying every Chinese person looks alike? Well, Proud American? There's a reason I sound like Ricky. I like this comment. Wilfred Gray. I live in Problem Town. What does it even mean? I love it. But what I don't love exactly is that enterprise model. It's not perfect. There's something about getting close to perfect and not getting to perfect that makes it worse than just being bad. You know what I mean? And that's going to wrap up our part 1 for our response towards Lower Deck Season 4 comments. Thanks to everyone who commented. Thanks especially MichaelPapp. Most of this season, it was just me and you here. We somehow had a YouTube channel with just 2 people. It's like we're in a room together and that's it. So I don't know. I don't know why that works out that way, but that's how it worked out. And we're going to be back with part 2. And maybe before that, we're going to have the tier maker video. I have no idea how long this is going to take. But I'm Lieutenant Mark, and I'm going to see you next time I see you. So long.